Welcome to The Explainer. In this series, we break down complex topics into clear visual guides. So today we're tackling a big one, literally. We're diving into the geography of Russia. It's a country whose massive size is both its greatest strength and its most difficult challenge. We're going to go on a bit of a tour to build a mental map of this place and really get a feel for how its mountains, its rivers, and its climate have shaped everything from its economy to its national identity. Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. Russia's borders and its really critical and kind of tricky relationship with the sea. So if you just look at a map, it seems like Russia has it made, right? It's surrounded by a dozen seas, but here is the massive catch. For a huge chunk of the year, most of that water is frozen solid. And that's been a central strategic problem for Russia for, well, its entire history. Now, there is one crucial exception to this frozen port problem, and its name is Murmansk. It's way up in the Arctic Circle, but thanks to the warm currents of the North Atlantic Drift, it's Russia's only major northern port that stays ice-free all year round. You really can't overstate how strategically important that one city is. Okay, so let's move inland. The landscape is just dominated by these enormous features. You've got the Ural Mountains, this old, worn-down range that acts as the dividing line between European Russia and Asian Russia. And just east of them, you hit the West Siberian Plain, one of the biggest, flattest, and marshiest places on Earth. And it happens to be sitting on an ocean of oil and gas. So why are Russian winters so legendarily brutal? Well, it comes down to one key concept: continentality. Because the country is so gigantic, most of it is thousands of miles from any ocean. And without the ocean to regulate temperatures, you get these absolutely wild swings, scorching summers and, you guessed it, punishingly cold winters. It creates some of the most extreme temperature ranges you'll find anywhere. And that extreme climate creates these really distinct zones of life. If you were to travel from north to south, you'd start in the tundra, this frozen, treeless wasteland. Then you'd enter the taiga, which is the single largest forest on the entire planet. And finally, you'd reach the steppe in the south, those wide open, grassy plains you see in the movies. So we have this huge, often unforgiving landscape. But the real story, the thing that defines modern Russia, is what lies just beneath the surface. It's like an underground treasury, just packed with natural resources. Let's start with the big one. Russia is an absolute energy titan. It holds the largest proven reserves of natural gas on Earth, period. This isn't just a part of its economy, it is the cornerstone of its economy and its global power. And it's not just gas. The country also sits on the second largest pile of coal reserves in the world. Most of these absolutely massive deposits are buried deep under Siberia. So you take the oil, you add the gas, you throw in the coal, and what do you get? A global energy superpower. Think about this. Oil and gas alone make up a staggering 80% of Russia's exports. That makes its entire economy incredibly dependent on what happens in the energy markets. And what's really key here is that these resources aren't just scattered around, they're concentrated in specific hotspots. The West Siberian Plain is all about oil and gas. The Kuznetsk Basin, or Kuzbass, is coal country. And then you have places like the city of Norilsk, which holds something like 40% of the entire world's nickel reserves. Just unbelievable. Okay, so you have all this incredible wealth underground. Now let's look at the industrial engine that was built on top of it all. See, Russia's industry isn't just everywhere. It's clustered in these core regions, and each one has its own job, so to speak. Moscow and St. Petersburg are the brains, finance, administration. The Urals region is the muscle, all the heavy machinery and metalworking, and the Kuzbass is the furnace, churning out coal and steel. Now let's zoom in on Moscow for a second. It's got this totally surprising title for a city that's hundreds of miles from the nearest ocean. It's called the Port of the Five Seas. So, how on earth is that possible? Well, it's all thanks to this incredible network of canals, mostly built back in the Soviet era. These man-made rivers connect Moscow to the mighty Volga River, and from there, you can get to the Caspian Sea, the Black Sea, the Baltic Sea, all the way to the White Sea. It's a true masterpiece of strategic engineering. And it's not just Moscow. You've got other industrial giants out there. Magnitogorsk in the Urals is literally called Steel City. And then deep in Siberia, you have cities like Omsk and Novosibirsk that are these massive hubs for building aircraft, making nuclear fuel, and doing high-tech research. So the final piece of the puzzle is, how do you hold all of this together?
How do you connect a country that's so ridiculously huge it spans 11 time zones? The answer is twofold: rivers and railways.
Now, Russia has some of the biggest rivers in the world, the Ob, the Yenseny, the Lena, but they have a major geographical flaw. They all flow north, emptying into the frozen Arctic Ocean. So in the winter, the mouths of the rivers freeze up like an ice dam, but the water farther south is still flowing. It all backs up, causing colossal floods that created those huge swamps in the West Siberian plain. So, if the rivers all flow the wrong way for moving stuff from east to west, what do? You build this, the legendary Trans-Siberian Railway. It's an absolute engineering marvel, and at over 9,000 kilometers, it is the longest single railway on the face of the Earth. This railway isn't just a track. It's the economic and symbolic backbone of the entire nation. It's the lifeline that connects the European core around Moscow to all that resource wealth way out in Siberia and the Far East. It's what holds the whole thing together. So, when you boil it all down, Russia's entire story is about this one central paradox. The country is blessed with an almost unimaginable treasure chest of natural resources. But at the same time, it's cursed by its own geography. The brutal climate, the insane distances, the frozen seas that make it incredibly hard and expensive to get that treasure out of the ground. And this constant tug of war between amazing potential and harsh reality, that is the absolute key to understanding Russia's past, its present, and whatever story it ends up writing in the future.